Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Glenn and I just got done watching Avengers Infinity War. And
We haven't talked about it yet.
and we saw it,
Not really.
a week later than after it came out, right?
Yeah. This would be exactly a week today.
So why did we wait a week instead of seeing it when it first came out like we normally do?
You're asking me?
Yeah, well,
A couple of reasons. Because, and you didn't want to, wanted to avoid the crowds. But
well,
I was going to see it, and Phil didn't want to see it. I was just going to go see it, but...
you're gonna sneak away without me?
At some point I was going to go see it, but it seemed like you wanted to see it after it made $800 billion, so...
Yeah, biggest grossing weekend ever. Yeah, I really didn't want to see it because I have not liked most of the superhero movies that have been coming out, neither the Marvel movies or the DC movies. Just too much punching and kicking, not enough character and story. I mean, that pretty much explains all the superhero movies, right? Most of them.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I'd have loved these things.
Oh, sure, because there was nothing even close.
You get a little older, you want a little more out of your movies. So I understand why they're popular. I certainly do. Even the ones that I don't like at all. There's a few that I hate, and then there's a lot that I'm just kind of, it's okay. It was okay to watch, but I don't own any Marvel movies, DVDs or Blu-rays.
I think I might own the very first X-Men movie.
That's not.
I think
Marvel.
that might be the only one.
X-Men. But yeah.
Well, it's Marvel. It's not the whatever they call this.
Talking about the Marvel.
The Marvel
universe.
Cinematic
X-Men
universe,
is actually most of the X-Men movies are. I don't know. I find them a little more interesting than Marvel, but anyway.
Well, that's an interesting comparison, right? We're talking about.
And of course, Deadpool's
superhero
movies. One of the best superhero movies ever.
Well, that's because they break all the traditions and the tropes and they tell a different movie, and it's a rated R, and it's more of a comedy than it is a serious superhero movie. Yeah, it's almost a parody of a superhero movie.
But anyway, yeah, it was interesting. I guess we're going to spoil the balls off of this movie.
We're going to spoil the balls off this movie. It's been a week. If you haven't seen it, where have you been?
Don't watch this. Skip to this time code.
What time code is that?
Right there.
Yeah, the end of the video.
Then you'll miss the spoilers right there.
Well, what first impressions? We just saw it literally 30 minutes ago. We walked out of the theater.
30, 40 minutes. Yep.
Yeah, so tell me your first impressions.
I like it. I've seen all of the movies. I think you missed a few in there.
I did miss a few.
Two. But there's a few parts of it. It's basically incorporating all of these movies. It's bringing all these movies together. A lot of them, not all of them. Ant-Man wasn't there, but there's mostly the movies, the Iron Man and the Thor and the Captain America and all the dozens of superheroes, Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's mushing them all together into this spectacle. It was really, I was fairly happy with it. I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was fun. Just my basic impression of it.
Absolutely. So my basic impression is this. I've had such a hard time with superhero movies lately. Like we mentioned earlier, I like some of the X-Men movies. Mm-hmm. I kind of enjoyed Ant-Man, was fun. Deadpool was a lot of fun, but very different from any other superhero movie. And the DC movies and especially the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I just really did not enjoy the Captain America movies, most of the Iron Man movies, the Thor movies, the Ragnarok movie. What else do we have? Am I missing any major superhero movie that had their own movie?
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, there's the Guardian movies. I think you liked one.
So
of
the
those.
Guardians of the Galaxy is such a different movie. It doesn't feel like a superhero movie. And the first one I enjoyed. The second one I thought was just a a narrative mess. So it drove me nuts. I probably can't even stand to rewatch that movie. But so my first impression of this movie was that it was the best Marvel Cinematic Universe movie to date, and I enjoyed it. I can't think of any of the other that even come close. Lots of problems, in my opinion, but
there's a lot of stuff going on that some of it works and some of it doesn't.
Well, here's why I liked it. Really, when you look at mostly superhero movies and a lot of big action movies, the big spectacle movies, is they always fail on the antagonist. The antagonist is not interesting, is stereotypical, is just evil for evil's sake, killing henchmen for no reason. These are supposed to be your loyal followers, people you rely on to do your bidding, and not interesting. And this movie had the most interesting bad guy probably in any Marvel movie, even the X-Men movies. I'd have to say. I mean, I'd have to look at them again.
X-Men has some pretty good. Magneto I think, is a really good villain.
Yeah.
But he's one of those villains. Like, is he a villain? Sometimes he's not. Sometimes he is. Which is good. I mean, it's not just evil, just pure evil. Why are you doing this? Why are you destroying millions of people? Why are you? Just that's what we do. We're evil. So.
Well, yeah.
We're here to conquer.
Magneto was fighting back against humans because humans wanted to eradicate the mutants. And so you could see him, in his mind, he thought he was the good guy. And in this, what's his name?
Thanos.
He thought of himself as the good guy. Right? That was great. And he didn't just kill everybody just to kill everybody. He left a lot of people alive because he respected them. I
don't know that he thought of himself as the good guy. I think he thought of himself as making really hard choices that nobody else could make. And it was something that needed to be done. So, a good guy, bad guy, I don't know. I don't think it's even that. It's not even that black and white in this movie, so which is great.
Yeah.
He's a great villain. I wish to God they had brought him in sooner instead of just, we
got a hint of him.
He's on a throne in one movie.
Right,
and
there's a Guardian of the Galaxy movie, I think. We got a hint of him.
There's 2 or 3 movies where he's in the post-credits or he's sort of a part of the movie a little bit. But, he's amazing. Josh Brolin does a great job with that. But CGI, motion capture, I assume.
Yeah.
Just great job with that character. And it's not just a mirror, evil mirror character of the main character, right? Of course, there's no main characters, but it's not just like Iron Man fighting another Iron Man, Hulk fighting another Hulk. It's usually what they do, or Ant-Man just fighting another guy in an Ant-Man suit. It's like,
When your villain has no
boring.
Personality and no real motivation, and they're just a mirror reflection of the good guy, it's so boring. Like, give us a bad guy.
It's just been done.
Who's complicated.
I think it could be done well, but it usually isn't.
And I have to say, there are a lot of great laughs throughout. There's a lot of good character interactions between all the good guys, the superheroes, if you want to call them the good guys. But you don't really get to focus on any one, and it's not any one's story. Although there was some interesting, loss in the story. Who was it? Scarlet Witch and Vision. It focused a little bit on them because Vision was one of the last stones that Thanos had to get. And Scarlet Witch was she was in love with him, and she was really afraid to lose him. So that added a little bit of the dynamism, the relationship, the empathy for the good guys that you need. I actually wish they would even focus more on those 2 characters, if that was, because really I don't know Vision. I don't know who he is or what his powers are, or what he does, what his backstory is, because I didn't follow the movies that well or the comics. But it would have been nice to see more of those 2. That was one of my first impressions.
Yeah, I think those 2 and Gamora.
Right, Gamora and Thanos.
And Gamora, Thanos, and...
the sister?
The sister, but... excuse me. Peter Quill. Right, the Guardians of the Galaxy,
Oh, right.
the main character.
Yeah. Well, because he's in a relationship with Gamora, right?
That was a really interesting, some dynamic going on where, you know, he was trying. She came to him and said, "I want you to do something for me."
Well,
And
yeah, we're spoiling it, so-
made him promise to basically, if Thanos gets a hold of me, you kill me.
Right,
So
because
he
she knows where the Soul Stone is, and
right.
she's the
And
only
she
one,
didn't
apparently.
say, yeah, and she didn't tell him that. She just said, "You need to kill me if he gets a hold of me," and he hesitated, and you know.
And then he gets the courage to do it, though, and I mean to kill her. But of course, Thanos he alters reality and turns his gun into a bubble gun.
Reality stone was pretty fun. Some good stuff that he was doing with that.
So I'm hugely impressed with the character of Thanos. You know, he wanted to bring balance to the universe, and you know his planet had died, and because they wouldn't go with his plan to eradicate half the population so that their resources were available for the other half, so that they could live in bliss. He said it had worked on some other planets. Apparently, Gamora's planet was a paradise now after he killed half of them. So you can empathize. I mean, as he said, he's making the hard decision that no one else can make. And I love that he just didn't kill people willy-nilly. He didn't have henchmen that he killed because they pissed him off or they didn't complete their job.
Henchmen were really good in this.
Oh, the henchmen were awesome.
I mean,
and women, henchwomen.
Some of them were just sort of, you didn't learn too much about them, but the main sort of like the prophet of Thanos guy was great. Just really well done character. He's a CGI character because he's an alien basically, but impressive, like powerful, not just a punching machine. Right?
That's one of my big problems in superhero movies.
So,
this one, they display their powers.
They have actual powers.
So we get to see a lot of people's powers, and we get to see them try to use them in unique ways to fight each other instead of just a punch and kick fest. That's what I hate is everybody's invulnerable. They've either got a suit or a shield, or they're just super powerful, and they punch each other for 2 hours, and somehow somebody comes out ahead. This didn't do that. We didn't get a ton of punching and kicking.
Yeah, no, I liked, and I like that the guy just they spaced him, and that was it. He didn't survive and crawl back in and keep fighting. That was it. He was dead.
Or he's drifting off in stasis. Who knows?
Yeah, whatever. But you know, he was defeated.
Right. He was incapacitated.
That was it. He was dealt with. And
he was dealt with.
You know, Spider-Man had the plan, and that was all based off aliens, of course.
Yeah.
Or Alien.
Right.
Either one.
Well, yeah, Spider-Man throwing in the cutesy pop culture references. I mean, there's a lot of little script writing things that the protagonists, all the superheroes were using that were fun, like Spider-Man espousing the pop culture references and just the jokes. You know, Thor referring to the raccoon, Rocket Raccoon, as the rabbit. You know, Rabbit, Rocket Rabbit, or whatever.
Yeah, and he never. That's a good character too. I think through all the Guardians movies, I've kind of liked the Rocket Raccoon, believe it or not, as just a character who you kind of feel for, and he expresses himself, and you know, yeah, he quips and he's funny and he makes fun of people, but he's also, you know, looking after Groot and, you know, cares about his group, and has a little chat with Thor.
Yeah.
About, you know, their father, when his Thor's father got killed and he had to kill his sister and all this stuff like that. A little heart to heart with Thor. Which helps, weird.
It helps you to learn a little bit about the characters in that sense.
Yeah, this movie just had quite a bit of good, you know, character development moments.
It did.
Characters were actually talking to each other. And there was a bunch of punching and shooting and exploding and stuff. But
especially when they were in Wakanda fighting, it was like the least interesting battle scene, I thought.
I hate Wakanda, but this isn't a Wakanda review.
It's an ill-conceived...
It's silly. But that wasn't like a huge part of the movie. It was a pretty big part of the movie. It was the finale, but a lot of the movie took place in outer space or on ships or on other planets. It was it wasn't just all on Earth. I think I like that a lot too. It's like
It's nice to get away from Earth.
the cosmic Marvel, the cosmic side of Marvel, and that's Thanos.
Right.
It's all about he's this
Well, the Guardians of the
master
Galaxy,
of all these planets.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor and Thanos are the ones that get us off the planet, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the other superheroes we seem to be
They're all
terrestrial bound here on
more
Earth.
or less, yeah. They're all from Earth. So yeah, I liked it quite a bit. I would agree. That's probably would be my favorite overall Marvel Cinematic Universe movie.
Right, Avengers movie.
That Avengers movie. I liked the first Avengers movie a little.
Which one was that?
The 2012 one where they were fighting those giant things in New York. Those alien, like giant eel things were coming. It was fun.
I didn't.
And the second Avengers was just
Was
not
that
good.
Ultron, Age of Ultron? Yeah.
It had some good stuff in it, but Spider-Man Homecoming, which I don't think you saw,
That's
really
one
good.
I skipped because I
you
skipped
need to
that
see
a couple
that.
of the Avengers movies because
If you
I
like
didn't really
Spider-Man,
enjoy
you get a good dose of Spider-Man in this movie, and that's the whole movie, and it's really well crafted. But again, I'm not going to get into a Spider-Man review, but
Yeah.
he's a good character, and they definitely they like nailed Spider-Man.
He had a couple of lines throughout this movie that were just really fun. I remember one.
It's hard. There's so many things hard to remember.
Everybody's out. I think they were out in space or some zero-G environment, and everybody's floating off into different directions. And he's spinning webs trying to grab everybody and pull them back. He's like, "Sorry, I can't remember your name. Hey, let
I'm
me
forgetting everyone's names.
Yeah.
There's too many people.
He has a lot of great little battles. I'm definitely going to have to watch Spider-Man Homecoming because if that's his personality...
He suffers a little bit from the Iron Man syndrome where he's got a super suit and it's a little ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I want to talk
The
about...
legs come out.
Let's talk about some of the problems. So let's start with Spider-Man. I hated that Spider-Man was basically turned into Iron Man with webs and sort of an extended... literal spider legs now that grew out of his back and helped him.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is strong and really durable and has his webs and his spidey senses, right? I mean, we never see the spidey sense ever come in. He never has the tingly from the old days.
The opening scene where we see him in the school bus, his hair stand up on
Yeah, a
his
little
arm.
bit.
And that's sort of like, well, there's an alien ship right over there. So how much? 2 seconds later, one of the school kids goes, "Oh shit, an alien!"
It reminds me of Star Trek: The Next Generation when Deanna Troi would say she was the
Star Trek nerd.
I know. She would say, or the captain would say, "What do you sense?" And she would say, I sense that they're angry." Yeah, no shit, they're shooting at us. Of course they're angry, or they've armed weapons. Of course they're hostile. I would love to have seen more Spider-Man and get away from. Why give him a bunch of Iron Man? It's like writer convenience.
That was from the first Spider-Man movie too. He got a super suit from Iron Man. So.
In Homecoming.
Yeah.
Ah.
Spoiler
Was it
for that movie.
Was it that suit or
No.
a similar suit?
No, it was similar, but it wasn't that suit.
Wasn't that super?
It wasn't with spider legs and everything. That's you got to come up with new stuff for little kids and stuff.
But I'd rather they come up with new, clever ways of using the powers that they have and using those to deal with the situation rather than giving.
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man's in a desperate situation. The ship's going up into space, and he's like, and Tony Stark just goes, "Summon suit," flies up, and like he's fine now. All tension drains out of that.
So the reality here is that he developed a suit for Spider-Man. He left it in his little base, and instead of giving it to Spider-Man so he could be more use in other situations, he waited until he almost died in space to give it to him.
Well, he didn't want Peter Parker or Spider-Man. He didn't want him there to begin with. So
because
he didn't want him involved because he's a kid
and he's young, and
he's trying to protect him. But it's like once we're going into space, like, well, here's a spacesuit basically that is made out of nanotechnology and
But that's
has
one of
arms.
That's one of my
Yeah.
biggest problems with the movie is that they throw in these wild technologies, especially with. That's one of the biggest problems with that whole Iron Man property is they just throw super technologies at the problem instead of clever ideas at the problem. I mean, I give it to him that he's sort of the Batman character for the Marvel
Yeah.
Universe, but use the tools that you have in clever ways rather than just brute force. Oh, I've got a better suit, and now I've got an even better suit. Now I've got 40 of those
40
suits flying around remotely,
Yeah.
like in the previous movies.
Well, that and he kind of turns one or two other guys into Iron Man too.
Right, the Hawk.
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle is basically a
is Iron
flying
Man.
Iron Man with
I
wings.
forget what his name
Why
is.
does he have wings instead of just jets?
No, that's the other dude has wings.
Oh,
Don
that's right.
Cheadle looks exactly like Iron Man, except
Right.
it's like a silver suit. And then
That's
the
right.
other dude
There's another guy
is
who has
Hawk something.
who's only partially covered in his,
Yeah,
his
he
armor.
has like goggles on. Like, well, that's a good idea. Have some goggles.
Yeah,
But
why
yeah,
does-
his thing is the wings. I don't think he has a full
Right.
super
He
suit.
uses wings to block bullets and things. I remember that.
He's a dumb character.
With Iron Man's technology, and he has all these Iron Man suits that fly around remotely. Why doesn't what's it, Scarlett Johansson's character? Why doesn't she
give
have
her a suit?
Why
yeah.
doesn't she have an Iron Woman suit? Why doesn't Scarlet Witch have a suit?
That wasn't in the comics, man.
Why
You
doesn't-
just make shit up?
Why doesn't everybody have an Iron Man or Woman suit?
Have a Hulk-sized Iron Man suit. I mean,
They did.
but
Bruce
it
Banner
wouldn't have-
was in a
It
Hulk-sized
would
Iron
not
Man
have
suit.
fit the Hulk. I'm talking about one where the Hulk can get into a suit and kick the shit out of everyone, and finally the suit will just fall off and he'll just go crazy.
The Hulk in an Iron Man suit, so he's even
badass.
tougher.
That's what I thought when I first saw the trailers for this movie. I thought that, that's the Hulk inside that. That's awesome.
How stupid is it that Bruce Banner is inside a giant Iron Man suit to be even weaker than Iron Man in like a skin tight Iron Man suit?
Well, that's
He
an
goes and
old suit. That's
he
from
goes and
years
gets his
ago.
arm ripped off
Yeah.
and practically beat with it.
Yeah, that's an interesting. If you want to talk about the Hulk, he had kind of an interesting character development where, at the very beginning of the movie, he just gets his ass handed to him.
Thanos is stronger than
Thanos.
him. Yeah,
And
he's the only one.
yeah, it kind of threw me because I was like, at first we see Thor, and then we see what's his name, Bruce Banner. Sorry, that was the TV slip. And it's like, oh yeah, they're together because of Ragnarok, and they're both in space still. I get it, but and he just gets his ass handed to him, and
He gets beat down.
and that's it for the Hulk. We don't ever see the Hulk again in the movie.
Well, Bruce tries to bring him.
A little, but he doesn't come out to fight. He won't
doesn't
do
want
it. He's
to,
too
yeah,
scared,
he's scared.
or whatever.
That's fun.
He's psychologically damaged.
It's a fun story thing to do with him, but then the solution is to just turn Bruce into an Iron Man.
Well, when you've got super technology everywhere,
But why doesn't everybody have an Iron Man suit plus the powers?
because
I mean, imagine
how would
a Vision
Scarlett
Iron-
Johansson kick people in the tight-fitting suits? It would totally mess her up.
he has like a skin tight nano suit on, right? Why can't she have a skin tight nano suit?
Put her Glock on the suit. Bang,
Yeah,
bang,
you know,
bang,
a little
I
thing
have a
that
pistol.
raises up and feeds the Glock to her hand. I mean, rather than just blasting it out of the palms, it's like
She's so useless. It's
Well,
funny.
I mean, imagine her fighting any of the other characters in the superheroes.
She's just sort
any
of part
the
of
superheroes.
that espionage side of Marvel, kind of. So
Yeah.
it's fine. It's just putting her in there with other super villains and trying to fight. It just seems.
Well, like she fought that female minion of Thanos,
Yeah.
and you'd imagine that this woman is super strength, and she's just able to block and kick and punch and fight back. I mean, one smack to a normal human being, no matter how much you block, it's just shatter bones.
That's the problem with that's kind of my problem with this movie is that it's still the same thing. Everyone gets thrown around
and nobody's hurt.
and they're fine. And I mean,
They're a little roughed up.
thrown. I mean, thrown like by a giant gorilla guy that
Yeah.
slams you into a wall, and you're just fine because he didn't shoot you with a beam or something. And even that, it's like, oh, all right, ow, oh, I'm okay. And okay, in the end, yes, things got bad. Things finally, got serious for the heroes. But
Well, this is the first superhero movie where I actually worried for the superheroes because there was a threat
of Thanos,
that was
yeah.
finally powerful enough to hurt them. In all the superhero movies, everybody's punching each other. Nobody really gets hurt until the writers just decide conveniently that somebody gets hurt. Like that Black Panther movie. They fight. And then, now it's time for somebody to get hurt.
yeah,
Right? Or you're getting the beat down. One character's
it's a
getting
little, it's a little bit of blood here.
all that.
Now it's on.
All that for a drop of blood, Thanos
Yeah,
says,
well,
remember?
they couldn't hurt him.
Well, how could you hurt him at all? He had all those stones. He could do so much power. He grabs Iron Man by the neck. That's the whole problem with the superhero movies is they don't follow their own rules. You set up the rules of the powers that exist and the logic of the powers. Okay. Well, let's follow that thread. And he's super powerful. He's got most of the stones. He grabs Iron Man. You just pop his head off. Instead, he's trying to punch him and throw him down and bounce him around. Then he goes to stab him, and it's like...
Yeah, you can look back at a lot of things in this movie and say, well, he had the reality stone. He could have done this. He could have done X,
He had the
Y,
time
and
stone. He
Z.
could just rewind anything he didn't like
He had the
every time.
Once he got the time zone, it was... Time zone.
Time
The time stone, it was pretty much over. He could just back up anything he didn't want to happen,
And why didn't Doctor Strange back up time to some previous time when we could prevent Thanos from doing something? No, I guess it had to do with those 14 million
It's
calculations
all
that he
about-
did into the future where only
Yeah.
one was the viable option, and it must have been to give him the time stone, right?
I like that. I like that Doctor Strange is
There's a little more cleverness to his character.
yeah, he's not just like pound everything. He goes into some alternate reality mode where he's just like, and he's he's working out every possible way that they could beat Thanos.
All right.
Out of however many millions. And he's like, there's one. And obviously they didn't find it, I guess.
Well, to me it seemed like they found it, and
He knows what to do, right? And his character got killed, but I think he's the key to all of that. Backing up all that shit. Because they're not going to kill... Spider-Man, they just started the franchise.
Well, and the Black Panther, they just started.
Black Panther is huge.
Right, there's going to be another Black Panther.
He's not dead.
It's going to be another Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and they killed all the Guardians.
All the Guardians of the Galaxy,
All of them.
except the raccoon, are dead.
Except the raccoon, yeah.
And just, they'll figure out something that he did or because he knew how to beat Thanos. He knew the one way. I don't think he ever told them, right? He just said, "There's one way."
Not on screen. He didn't tell them.
There's just one way.
He could have.
So.
I'm going to guess that he told Tony Stark because Tony Stark was there when he said it.
Maybe, yeah.
And I think Tony Stark knows.
Maybe, yeah.
And that he's going to be the impetus to making that happen or be a part of that plan. That's my guess. He always seems to be a part of the intelligent plan.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice that there's a level of real complexity in the story, and it's not just a simple I don't even know where I'm going with this exactly, but there's so much going on, and it's so complex. And the plans of Thanos and getting the gems and what he can do with each gem once he gets it, I love that. Like, there's this level of power and you just haven't seen in any other Marvel movie that I can think of.
The threats don't feel real.
It kind of reminds me of Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen, where he's just kind of godlike.
Not quite that powerful, but getting closer to that than anybody else. I mean,
once he gets that reality
Dr. Manhattan
gem,
was... At least Dr. Manhattan used his powers in a better way.
Yeah. But,
speaking of Dr. Manhattan, The Watchmen, the best superhero movie ever in history, ever made, ever.
Thanos did have pants on, so don't worry. No Thanos dong.
Yeah.
Hanging in the wind. But yeah, now would you go see this movie again?
I could. especially because there is so much going on. There's so many different characters doing so many different things.
Do you think you'd like to see one or two of the other movies, either ones you've missed or something again that you've seen to kind of refresh yourself? Is there anything that seemed like it was missing when you were watching it? Like, well, I don't understand that, or
not so much missing. It made me curious to see exactly how things came to be. But if I remember the ones, the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies I did see, they didn't really build up this story. Just like these little hints at the end of the credits or little hints throughout the movie. But all those movies, as I remember, had their own plot lines and characters and situations.
well, yeah, some of them involved
that were boring and dumb. All of them. Except for the first Captain America movie. The first half of that movie was pretty good, and then the second half was horrible. But,
well, there you go, folks.
and the first Iron Man movie I kind of enjoyed, and Deadpool and Ant-Man Ant-Man was okay. Deadpool was great, but
Deadpool's not a part of this.
Oh, all right, he's the
X-Man.
other. He's an X-Man.
He's an X-Man.
So he's not in this universe, but Ant-Man is.
I wish he was.
That would be fun, yeah.
We already got like a smart-ass, Peter Quill.
So I'm not,
fills that.
to answer your question, I don't really think that I'm so interested in seeing any of the other movies, except for the Spider-Man Homecoming, because I think that Spider-Man was fun, and I keep hearing that it's a fun movie, and you saw it. I mean, you've pretty much agreed with me that the other movies have a lot of problems and are not very good movies.
I don't hate them as much as you do, but I
have huge problems with them.
Like I said before, I don't go back and watch them. I've seen them, and it's like, okay, that's enough.
Ugh.
I'm done. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Except for Wakanda.
Yeah, for me, Black
I don't
Panther
understand. I don't understand the love for that movie.
Was the worst of all the MCU movies. The story was boring and really stupid in every plot line and subplot, and what the characters did, it was just very dumb. But that aside, I would see this movie again. Infinity War. I could probably see it again. Probably won't rush out to the theater to see it, but maybe on a rental or something. And it's not going to make me want to see any of the other movies, except, like I said, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Spider-Man's worth seeing. It's a fun movie.
And I'm interested to see now, because of this movie, all the other ones, I didn't want to see any of more Super Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, so I skipped a few. This one makes me want to see the sequel. I want to see what happens after this. I want to see where Thanos goes, how they fix the universe. They're going to bring everybody back to life through some kind of time reversal or reality altering.
It's going to have to be something like that. But, the end is sort of like Thanos just goes and sits on his porch and
he seems injured at the end, didn't
lights
he?
a pipe and just goes, yep, it's all good.
He seemed really injured, though, at the end there. He's kind of hunkered over and limping along, and it seemed all torn up on his glove side. So maybe that kind of, he got hurt by what he had done.
But it just seems to me like the next movie, what is he going to do? He's done it. So...
Well, yeah, I think Tony Stark...
It's all about what do the remaining heroes do.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of them got wiped out. I mean, he said half, but it just seems to me like a lot of them got wiped out. And, like you said, the Guardians of the Galaxy are gone, except for one.
I mean, the most powerful superhero is still alive. That's Thor.
Oh, yeah, Thor.
Thor's still alive now that he has a new weapon.
Superman plus.
Yeah, well, especially when he has a weapon, right? He lost his hammer.
Yeah, he went and got a weapon forged. I like that. I like that.
That was fun.
Yeah,
the weapon forging.
He lost it in the other movie, that other Thor movie that you loved.
Ragnarok.
And he needs a new weapon because he's kind of useless without a weapon, apparently. I don't know. It channels his power, kind of. It's like a Harry Potter wand.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, I think so.
But
seem to be able to do a lot more.
So much going on. Basically, three groups that we kind of split into?
You had Thor and Raccoon. You had the Guardians of the Galaxy were kind of running around doing their thing.
Right.
You had Iron Man and sort of everybody else kind of running around. So yeah, 3 or 4 groups.
Yeah.
I have to hand it to the writers and the directors of the film.
Yeah, that's a trick.
To take that many main
that
characters and throw them all together.
Yeah.
And so you only have a few moments basically with each character, a few intimate moments in your 2 hours and plus however long the movie was, 220, whatever it was. You only have a little bit of time with each of the characters, so whatever they say, everything said is gold. You have to make it gold. And I think they made most of it gold. Because it creates your empathy for the characters, the relationships, the fun.
The Thanos flashbacks. I hate to go back on the Thanos wagon here, but
Thanos is awesome.
There's 2 flashbacks of Thanos?
Yeah.
One with Gamora.
Because there was one towards the end with Gamora again.
But you're watching it, you're going, what am I looking at? And it's like, oh, this is a flashback with Gamora, and she's whatever, she's
like
8
10,
or 10.
Yeah.
And seeing how he basically shields her from, she looks over as they're executing everybody, and he just kind of shields her from it. Look at this little thing. Look at this little bobble. Yeah, great character. God, I honestly can't think of a better villain. Certainly not in the MCU.
Not in the MCU for sure. They pulled that one together, and like I said, I would have loved to see a little bit more with I never remember the Guardians of the Galaxy's guy's name. What's his name?
Peter Quill,
Drax, Gamora, and then Vision and Scarlet Witch, because those 2, they were the ones who were losing the other person they cared about, right? Like they were in a serious, romantic relationship. And,
well, they're all gone now.
Even a little more focus on them would have been cool. But like I said, having so many different characters, I thought they did well.
So out of all those characters that got wiped out, some are not going to come back. What do you think about that?
You think so?
I think so. I think some are not going to make it back.
Why do you think that?
I don't know. I just threw it out there. I think that they're going to decide on who to bring back, the most important characters to bring back for franchises. Spider-Man. What's his name? Black Panther.
Well, we need Spider-Man, Black Panther. We need the Guardians of the Galaxy, because there's already another. I think there's another Guardians.
Did Bruce Banner
Nope, he was still there.
I can't remember. So many people that were in it and just turned into dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. What did you think about the final scene there, the Samuel Jackson?
The end credit scene. So the end credit scene, Samuel Jackson's driving. I forget what's his name his character's name. Whatever.
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury. He's driving some SUV, kind of swerves in front of them. Him and his assistant, some female. They get out. They check the truck. There's nobody in it. A helicopter crashes into the building behind them, and then you realize, people are starting to disappear. That's why there's nobody in the truck. That's why the helicopter crashed. Because for a minute, for whatever reason, it didn't hit me right away. Like, why is the truck empty? Why is the helicopter crashing?
It's sort of like Left Behind, or
The Leftovers. The Leftovers,
and Left Behind, but where people just disappeared and the cars wreck into each other.
Well, I thought it was great that Nick Fury disappeared. His character's a little annoying in my opinion, and he doesn't contribute.
He'll be
a lot,
back,
I'm sure. But yeah, he clicked his little beacon device and dropped it on the ground as he was disappearing.
Which does what?
And I don't know the reference of the symbol that was on there, but from what I heard on the internet, it's
I've heard about
Captain
it. Otherwise,
Marvel?
I would have no idea what it was supposed to be. It's a Captain Marvel. I don't know why there would be a symbol on the thing, but I thought we were going to see Captain Marvel flying in and what's going on here?
Well, why wasn't he there to help him? What is he off like in some other galaxy?
I think it's a she,
or she?
But yeah.
Is she off vacationing somewhere?
We need the Captain Marvel movie, number one, the origin story for Captain Marvel, blah, 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 and then she'll be in the next Avengers movie. So, I don't know. Have you heard about a release date for Captain Marvel? I haven't heard anything.
I haven't.
I'm sure before Avengers, we'll see it.
I'm going to guess next year.
Maybe,
probably next summer. That one, and then probably the Avengers movie to follow up to this the year after that, I'm guessing, something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so if they would just focus a little, look, they're writing the characters really well. They're finally doing creative things with the way that they combat each other, using their powers instead of just punching and kicking. They got a great antagonist finally. Which seems to make every one of these big action movies. If you have a bad antagonist, it's so bad, or you just don't care. If they would just focus a little bit more on the logic of the rules of the powers and cohere to that.
Hulk's trying to get in.
My dog's trying to get in.
Oh wait.
Yeah, if they would just stick to the story logic. If a character can do this, let's see them do that. Not be completely invulnerable. If Iron Man has this super nano suit technology and can make 40 different drone versions of it flying around fighting the evil, let's put everybody in it. Let's use our logic here.
Yeah, there's an infinite amount of funding and technology going around. And then, we go to Wakanda and it's amplified for some reason because of some metal that's there. I don't know.
It's magic metal that is the answer to everything.
I will give it to one of the Wakanda. I forget what her name is, of course, but one of the bodyguards had one of the best lines in the movie. You were laughing at too when Scarlet Witch comes out and blasts that big giant wheel thing and just wipes it out, and the bodyguard goes, "Why was she up there before?" Why wasn't she down here fighting?
Right. That was funny.
It's very
So
funny.
like,
It's because that's what everyone's thinking,
Scarlet Witch
right?
is so powerful.
Holy shit, she can do that? Why is she up there hanging
I know,
out?
we're down here fighting with spears and stuff, and she's just blasting giant things.
A lot of good little references like that, and little quips that worked, I thought, for the most part. I would say...
You going to give it a grade now?
Man, I don't know.
Well, we've talked about it now, so you had a little bit of time to digest it.
Just for my initial reaction, God, I don't know if I want to say it's a B plus at least.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say B plus because the characters are so good. Because
it's just so scattered all over the place.
It's such a mess. It's actually
It is a mess, but it's an awesome mess.
It's a fun mess,
and it's fun.
Even Thanos.
I'm on the verge of an A minus.
As much as I said about Thanos being a good antagonist, his characters still, they don't follow the rules of his powers and the logic of his powers. He already has these stones. He seems to revert to kind of punching and throwing, and he's just walking around instead of just teleporting. He seems like he can just teleport anywhere.
I think most of the time he is so confident in his power that
he's taking
he
it
doesn't
easy.
necessarily want to murder.
He doesn't.
People, which doesn't make sense, kind of, but he wants everyone basically to get their fair 50-50 shot, and that's his one thing is like half of everybody will die, but it's a random choice. It has not, he's not like, he doesn't see himself as a murderer maybe. He does what he has to do, but
he's doing it so that the other half...
it's a little bit justified that he's kind of merciful in some ways.
Oh, sure,
and holds back.
Well, I love his line with...
But, he'll still like turn your gun into a bunch of bubbles, and it's like, oh, okay,
I love
you got a gun. Ooh.
His dialogue with Tony Stark when he tells him, I forget exactly what he says, but he says something like, "You were a good adversary."
Yeah.
I hope humanity remembers you.
I have respect for you.
Yeah, I have respect for you. I hope humanity remembers you.
I like it when Thanos touched people. His hand is so goddamn big. Like he touched their head and, just gently.
Yep.
It was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
So for me, I have to say B plus, just because they still defy the logic and the rules that they set up the rules. They decide what powers people have and how they work and the logic of that all, how that all works together logically. And they just defy it so much that I can't give it any higher. If they would adhere to their rules a little bit more. But because of the great characters, the great antagonist, obviously the great visuals and the production value, and fun stories and fun characters, I think it definitely deserves to be pushed up to at least a B+.
I'm gonna go with B+. I think also. I'm on the edge of an A- because I really enjoyed it, but I have a lot of the same issues you have with it. Where we won't rehash all that.
Yeah.
But I'd say B+. It's definitely worth seeing. If you're any kind of a Marvel fan, you'll love it. And even if you kind of don't like Marvel movies, you might like it. Give it a shot. I don't know.
It was actually, so I've seen tons of reviews on this movie, the Red Letter Media review, but I saw the Alpha Quadrant 6 review. It's another group doing reviews, and some of the things that they said, they really analyzed the antagonist. And when I heard that much detail about the antagonist, about Thanos, so much about him that they were saying, it really made me decide, okay, I think I can see this one. Because now we have a good bad guy.
One of the comments was like, he almost convinced me that like what he was doing made sense, kind of.
I almost went to his side.
And,
that was Bob actually said that.
It's the same problem we have right now. Where it's like one of the big problems we have here is too many people on the planet.
Right.
And, do we want to wipe half the population out? No, but it's definitely a big problem. But yeah, go see it.
Yeah, I have not enjoyed the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, but I enjoyed this one, and I'm definitely gonna see the next one just because I want to see where it goes. So
yeah, I might see this again. I can see definitely on HBO or something.
Yeah,
for sure. I don't know if I'm gonna go pay and see it again.
Probably not.
But if you pay, I'll go maybe.
I'm definitely not paying.
All right.
You're gonna have to get somebody else to pay for it. Well, there you go. Avengers: Infinity War. Go check it out.